One of my favorite things to do is race and ride a small bike. I have built a CBR 300, an RC 390, and an R3, and I have been dying to build a Kawasaki Ninja 400. Unfortunately, I just haven't had time. Thankfully, someone else did. Ninja400R.com is building and selling these race-ready motorcycles, and I get to ride this one today at Lincoln.
This bike is built by Jeremy Toy. His resume includes numerous superbike wins, the top spot at Pikes Peak, and even finishes in the Isle of Man TT. Toy builds and sells track-ready Ninjas in 3 versions, but this one here is really something special. Not only is it his top-tier Moto America spec build, it's actually Ashton Yates' personal race bike, the very same machine Ashton used to set a track record here in Lincoln. Helping Ashton haul ass are a number of key mods. First and foremost, the bike has been stripped of all its silly street stuff and wrapped in Hot Body's bodywork. It's got lower Vortex clip-ons and higher adjustable rear sets, but other than that, the ergonomics are pretty much stock. Ashton is about my height and weight, so the ergos really fit me perfectly, and honestly, one of the things I like about the Ninja is that it's compact, but not so small that it's uncomfortable or hard to move around on at speed. The Ninja's stock suspension is surprisingly capable for a $5,000 bike, but ripping around the track at the front of the pack takes precise control. To get it, this bike has a 25mm cartridge kit from GP Suspension in the fork, and it's running an upgraded ohlins shock. Both ends are of course fully adjustable and tuned for agility and stability. Chassis setup is kind of Toy's specialty, which helps explain why this bike felt like it was on rails as I sailed over turn 1, dropped down the corkscrew, and braked hard going into turn 11. If Kawasaki's Ninja 400 has any weaknesses, it's the spongy, fade-prone brakes and vague clutch feel. To help fix those issues, this bike uses higher spec brake fluid that resists race-level heat, a stainless galfer line that resists flex, and grippier brake pads that squeeze a laser-cut, parallel ground galfer wave rotor. Out on track, the brake levers still felt a little soft for my preferences, but there's plenty of stopping power and feel, and none of that diminishes with hard use. The clutch pull on a stock Ninja is so light that it's actually problematic, and the discs can slip when you shift aggressively. So this bike has stiffer clutch springs, plus a spring on the actuation arm to improve lever feel and clutch re-engagement. Speaking of shifting, you spend a lot of time moving through the ratios on a small bike. An HM quick shifter not only allows clutchless, full throttle upshifts, it's also what's used to regulate this bike's redline. If you follow the Moto America Junior Cup, you know that there are restrictions on certain bikes to level the playing field. So, while a stock Ninja 400 revs to 12,000 RPM, this bike is limited to just 10,000 RPM and carries about 10 pounds of ballast, so it meets the 319-pound weight requirement. Obviously, that RPM limit is a big handicap, but this Ninja still hauls ass compared to a free-revving stock bike. That's thanks to a number of modifications, including one of the quietest race exhausts I've ever heard, a reflashed ECU with tuned fuel and ignition curves, and some internal engine work. Since this Moto America racer can't rev all the way out, Toy has altered the Ninja's cam timing and increased the compression ratio with thinner gaskets to help shuffle power lower in the revs. It works, and this thing is making close to 51 horsepower, even with its lower RPM limit. The only struggle I faced was remembering to shift, even when the engine was still pulling hard and still several thousand RPM from redline on the dash. Other parts that come on this Moto America spec bike include GB case covers to keep the engine intact in a tumble, a brake lever guard and quick turn throttle, and upgraded drivetrain parts including a lighter aluminum rear sprocket and a super thin 415 chain. It might not be great for durability, but that tiny chain is fantastic for saving rotating weight. In the end, what you have is a machine that's been built to the limit of what's allowed in the Junior Cup, and a bike that's proven to be competitive. And as you might expect, it's not cheap. It comes with a price tag of $12,800. If that's too steep, there's the Expert Club Racer build for about $11,500. It uses some slightly less sophisticated parts, but it actually makes more power and weighs less since it doesn't have to conform to Moto America rules. Finally, there's a novice club racer build for about $8,900 that forgoes the engine work and focuses on essential mods like suspension and brakes. Any way you slice it, you might be thinking that's a lot of money to spend on a 400cc race bike, especially when a Ninja is only $5,000 to begin with. But as anyone who has put a track bike together knows, there are a lot of challenges and snags in the build process, so there's a ton of value in having a professional like Jeremy Toy put it together for you.
Well, we already knew the stock Ninja 400 was a great little street bike and a lot of fun on the track. And sure enough, this race prepped bike, which has proven itself here at Laguna Seca, in the Moto America paddock and with me riding, is just that much more enjoyable. So if you're interested in knowing more, if you want to get one for yourself, you can go to ninja400r.com and get all the information. I hope you enjoyed this video. It seems like guys are getting ready to go back out on the track, so I'm gonna zip up my leathers and get back to it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.